So now let's look at the XD design. Now that we're done with the mobile view, we're done with this. Moving on to the desktop design. So now, how are we going to do this? We have all of these and also all of this. So I could say, I could write in a media query where when I get to a certain width on my browser for the desktop design, so I could hide this header image, then add another one here which wouldn't be showing by default on the mobile view. Then I could say display flex, then change the order of the image. Don't worry, I'll be showing you how I'll achieve that in a second. So now let's go to our HTML page. So here that we have main contents. So let's see for the desktop view. So header 2. I know it looks funny, but don't worry, we'll be hiding that in a second. Now moving back to the CSS file. Now let's see for the desktop view, looking at it, how are we going to do this? So I want this to break points, like it should become a desktop view. So I want to add a media query, add media, then min width of 700 pixels. So at 700 pixels, I want the header class to be display none, and I want the header 2 class to be display block. So now let's see that. Okay, so that goes away, this stays. So here also I could also add header 2, say display none, or give it the padding of 2 em, top and bottom 1%, and also margin bottom 4 em. So now when I do this, I get this. Okay, don't worry, I know it looks pretty much ugly. Now I'll fix it. As you can see, the desktop approach is really nice. Just for us to notice, this is for the desktop view. So there should be a better way of doing this, but like this is my approach of doing this. So once I target the body, now I want the background. I'm going to add a URL. So all that I'm adding is this. So I don't know if you can see it. There's like a picture coming up there that wasn't there before. So also I want the background size to be color. So now that we're on this view, let me leave it like this to make this smaller. So now main display flex. Okay, that looks pretty bad. So I've already given my header display none. Now my header image. So I'm going to change the order to 1, so it goes the other way. Now we'll say the background should be URL / images / URL desktop. So I want this image to show when I'm on the desktop view and not the mobile image. So now I see background, repeat, no repeat. Also give the width 100% just to make it responsive. So now I'll target the dot image mobile to display. No, okay, that doesn't work. So I'm going to give this a class image mobile. So let me enlarge this. So we'll be seeing the desktop view. So now I notice that my placeholder color didn't change. So what's wrong? Oh, okay. So we have to put the space here. So now it changes to that light pinkish color. So what else? What else? Okay, so now looking at the design on a desktop view, so we have all of this left aligned, the end center. So let's do that. So come all the way down. So before we do that, let's give the main content. Let's add in some space. So I'm going to say height of 90 view height. Okay, and I want the margin bottom to be 0. So now we move on to the text. Change the font size. Let's say 5 EM, making it really big. Now the main theme, I want the font size to be 4 EM. Wow. Okay, so I closed that by mistake. So this should be 4 AM. Let me zoom this a little bit. Actually, it should be 4 AM. Okay, so now let's target the block, which are everything, by the way. So text align left. So now in the left position, and let's also target these elements here. We also want them to be left aligned left. So I say main text 2. Text align left. So with this, basically we're done with the CSS, we're done with the HTML. We've gotten this beautiful design, this beautiful landing page here. So now it's time for us to add in some JavaScript. So what do you think? What do you think about the design? So this desktop view, and this is probably a tablet view. I know the picture isn't showing fully, but that's the best this design can be. Then, and we have the mobile view. So I know there might be other solutions to this. So if you have any opinions on how I could have done this better, you can comment down below. So now moving on, now we move to the JavaScript section. So for this video, I'm going to create a script tag srs then main.js. So I'm going to create main.js file here. So there we go, we have the main.js file. So the first thing I'm going to do is to target the button. So we want a variable, so I'm going to name that variable button. Then we use document dot query selector. There are others like get elements by ID, query selector, or get elements by tag names, something like that. So we want to get the elements called button. So you have to terminate it. So now on our button, I want that whenever we click on the button, I want to get an error if the input is wrong. So we say button, calling the variable name, then add event listener. So I want to listen to a click event. Then we add in a function. By the way, this is ES6 arrow function. So if you've never seen it before, that's what I'll be using. So now I want a variable X to hold my email. So this is going to hold the inputs pattern. Once we get elements by ID, I want to get the pattern attribute from the input element. So after that, we would also want to get the values. I know my variable names are funny, but I could have come up with better variable names. But for now, I'm going to leave it like that. So now I also want to get the ID I gave it. Okay, so moving on, what do I want to get again? So I want to get the click. So I gave a variable click, an element click. So I would like to get that element because it will be useful. I also want to get my email. Well, this is just for Chrome browsers. Don't worry, I don't need this for now. Let me cancel it out. Okay, so now we want to think about this. We've gotten the inputs here with these variables. So now I want that if the input dot length, so length is a method in JavaScript. So if the input dot length is greater than 0, then Then I want all this to run. Then I also want another if statement. So now if y, remember y is grabbing the, here is not supposed to be node values, should be value. Okay, so y, variable y is grabbing the values that I'll be typing here. Now if that value is not equal to x, if the value is not equal to the pattern, so we identify the pattern in the HTML, we define the pattern that the email tag should tally with. So if it does not tally, give an error. So now we're calling the variable of z of show to be display equals to block. So now also want to click. So I want to add in a class list, then add show to. Okay, that will be all. So you can see this JavaScript section is so minimal. So now let's give it a go. So we type in rubbish, click this. Well, it does nothing. That's because in our CSS file, come in. So let's trace this. So I gave this an ID of show. So wait, so class name on show, then ID show. Yes, here. So we'll just say display none. So whenever I type something here, then I press enter, it gives me that error that okay, it does not match. But let's type in gibberish also, but following the pattern I'd already given it, then enter, then it goes away. So you can see it is working now. So there's also one little thing we didn't add, because in the picture there's supposed to be an error popping up here. So now moving on to the CSS file, we also need to add in some style for us to get that error. So target the show .to, then add in our featured class before. So I do want it to have a content. See, you have so now we also say position absolute. So position absolute, then the left left 72%, then top 1 EM. But why isn't it showing? Okay, so now let's try this. Yes, now it works. So when I type in an actual email, it goes away. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed part 2. If you've watched so far, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.